What is the proposed amendment to the Environmental Protection Act says? Why Indians are not serious about the environmental issues? So the central government introduced a new amendment in Environmental Protection Act. So now they have asked the opinions from the public, states, union territories till July 21. The Environmental Protection Act was enacted in 1986 to curb the violations against the environment by the public. So the new proposed amendment in the Environmental Protection Act have cancelled the imprisonment, the jail term, and the provision was replaced by the fine. Already there was a provision in the Environmental Protection Act for the fine, the imposing of fine, but now they have cancelled the jail term. So in the former Environmental Protection Act, they have included that if a violator, based on the violation committed by the violators, so they can impose the jail term up to 5 years, or based on the violation, if the violation is serious and it is more severe, then they can impose the jail term up to 7 years. But now the proposed amendment cancelled the jail term and they have increased the fine from 1 lakh to 5 lakhs or even to 5 crore based on the violation they have committed. So the fine will be decided by the adjudication officer. So government want to appoint a separate officer for this, so they are called adjudication officer, and they will calculate the fine for the environmental violation committed by the people or the public. So the government didn't gave a reply why they have specifically cancelled the imprisonment for the environmental violation. First we can see about why Indians are not serious about the environmental issues compared to the West. So the Western countries like UK, Germany, France and the America are more keen on the environmental issues, especially the UNFCCC, we are all know about it, and many countries in the West have committed to the net zero carbon emission until 2030, 2040, but India also committed to the net zero emission, but after facing pressure from many of the Western countries. So the West is severely impacted by the environmental issues like the global warming. Not only West, India also experiencing a severe the environmental issues, but apart from the environmental issues, Indians is having other issues like the poverty, hunger, unemployment, which is the day-to-day challenge faced by the Indians. In India, more than 50% of the families are lower middle class families, unlike the West. So West is also experiencing a severe climatic change, but comparing to the West, India is experiencing a severe environmental crisis. Like the recent report, before couple of days, a report was released which says that the monsoon in India, the monsoon season in India is hotter than the summer. I mean, June to September is the monsoon season, which is hotter than the summer season from February to May. It is a major setback in for Indians. But Indians are more concentrating on other things because environmental issues is one side, but it is not impacting our life directly, but indirectly it is impact. But apart from the environmental issues, we have more other issues. But the West is already, they have the families of West are in good areas, and also they have some economically they are stronger, so they are experiencing and they are more keenly focusing on the environmental issues. That's what the main setback the Indians and why Indians are not focusing on the environmental issues. But India is experiencing a severe environmental crisis, including the sea rise. By the 2013, they have gave alert to the Chennai, Alappuzha and also the many coastal regions. So first now we can come back to the Environmental Protection Act, the proposed amendment to the Environmental Protection Act. So central government have cancelled the jail term. Whether it is good or bad is a discussions among the public. So first we can see about the environmental related cases in the court. So if a court want to clear the environmental cases, they took average years from 9 to 33 years to clear the environmental cases backlog. In 2008 starting, there were already the 45,000 cases were pending in trial, and in 2018 that year, addition to the backlog cases, they added 35,000 cases which were still pending in the judiciary. So judiciary is also not keen on the environmental issues because public is more focusing on the civil and criminal cases, including the judiciary. So for the environmental violators, it is not effective because it takes around 9 to 33 years average. So if the fine was increased and the jail time was cancelled, there will be some efficiency. But based on the laws and based on the framework imposed by the government, so government should be responsible for all this. So the government have said the fine collected from the violators will be called as environmental protection fund, and they can spend the fund in the environmental related sectors. But we know how much it is effective, but it is a temporary the temporary term, but the imprisonment cannot be replaced by the fine. But in context of India, environmental issues is not that much we will give importance. So while comparing to the backlog cases and environmental violations, fine is somewhat will be effective, but it is a temporary term. Jail term is not compared to fine. So government also should propose another act which will impose severe restriction and severe the punishment on the environmental violators. So that is the opinion from me. Thank you.